Welcome to the Team 7 podcast. I am joined by my two co-hosts, Asher, Basher, Dasher, and Prancer, Coker, and Zach. Also goes by Z. Here we are. It's been a minute, but we're back, and we are covering episodes 329 through 340. We've had a lot going on. This batch it's something. It is. I was telling Asher once I found out that he had finished the batch. Now you guys know about 95% of the reason why I love Itachi so much. He's right here, actually, right there. But there's still more, and that's what's awesome. We get that I won't say last arc. It wasn't the last arc by any means, but near the end of the show, we get a whole arc on Itachi. So you'll grow to love him even more, I hope. But we'll get into that. Let's go ahead and start where the batch starts. I need to go back a season real quick.
I can't imagine loving him less. He is a badass character.
Yeah.
The first note that I have in my notes says Naruto pulled out, hit the rod. So
yeah, so Naruto is fighting with the Nine Tails now. So last batch, remember I'd cut it off of an episode short on accident. So this the first episode of this batch is kind of just should have been on the last one, but we already knew what was going on. So Naruto and Nine Tails friends, love that. And that's also my first note as well, Zach, is Naruto pulls Rod out of Four Tails. But yeah, let's start there. So do we have all the names memorized yet? Do we have the song memorized?
Catchy tune, but I didn't memorize it.
Super catchy.
Think for a second that it was all going to be in like Japanese, which is that's my big bad.
Yeah, it would be really hard. It's one thing to learn a song in your language because you can you're comprehending what you're saying. But that's why it's so impressive when you see these videos on YouTube or wherever. I remember seeing this video of this this Asian kid singing what is that song? I will always love you. What is that?
I will always love you.
Like who sings that? Sorry, who sings that?
Whitney Houston.
Whitney Houston. This kid nails it. Doesn't speak a word of English, but he
fully Japanese.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, dude. Isn't that unreal?
Yeah, that's wild.
Yeah. So I couldn't. If either of you had memorized the song, I would have been blown away. Truly blown away.
I was expecting Asher to have like a full live drum rendition of it.
There's still time for that. I'll probably do that. We can post it on the channel too.
That would be cool.
Do they keep playing it? Because they played it like 6 out of the 11 episodes we watched.
That's what I was thinking. It wasn't every single one, was it?
No.
Well, no, it's not.
And sometimes it was at the end.
Yeah. So I think it's actually only at the beginning, like 1 or 2 times. Most of the time it's at the end now. But it is, I guess, only for the episodes that we really see a lot of the tailed beasts.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess to be honest, I did kind of expect you to have the names memorized, Asher.
I wrote them down, but not memorized.
Okay, yeah. That wrote them down is the bare minimum, Asher. But
the way he sings, the way we say Shikaku, it sounded like he said Shikaku.
Maybe it is.
That would make more sense for Shikamaru and his dad, because that's like an I. Well, for the English translation, because it's more Shukaku, right?
Yeah, that's interesting. Because the song is sang by the voice actor or actress, I guess. Actress that portraying a boy. But so Naruto and the Nine Tails, which now is just Kurama, best friends. Did we see it coming? By this point, surely it was a long time coming.
I called it forever ago. Not really.
You did.
We hashed that out. But I was like, I think they're going to get along one day.
Yeah.
I'm glad.
I will say I expected it to come soon in the story, but I did not expect a form change out of it. That was a welcome surprise.
Isn't that he looks just like his dad too? Like it's so cool.
And Kakashi even cool. Thought that, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
he said sensei? Yeah, that's
sensei?
Oh dude. So cool.
Very, very rewarding overall to like see that they're finally working together, but then also to see Naruto like level up in his fashion choices.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that it like just appears out of nowhere when he channels that chakra, love it.
Yeah.
I think a couple great quotes from this episode too. Guy saying, "This fight is like an all-out monster smackdown." Amazing. And then Kurama saying, "Actually, the only person you've ever really kissed is Sasuke."
Dude.
Savage.
Dude. Did him dirty.
Give him time. He's 16. Don't rush it. And then I guess it was Naruto who said this, but I didn't specify in my notes, but I just learned a bunch of really difficult names all at once when he kind of comes out of the whatever world he's in where he's able to talk to them.
Yeah.
It's just funny, typical Naruto.
It's also interesting that another piece of it that I would never have predicted is like them all in agreement that the Sage of the Six Paths was the origin of this entire side of the story. And they all are in agreement that like he is who prophesied a Naruto like figure in the future.
Yeah.
So it like not only like, yes, Naruto's the main character, he's the hero, it's named after him, but it just solidifies that even more that like it's not just some random kid. Like there is a purpose here, and he is fulfilling this destiny that he's been set out to accomplish. I love the detail of it.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
To piggyback off that, they were all like little-tailed beasts. So does that mean they're aging?
Mm.
We don't have to talk about it, but
let's just have speculation on your all's end and know that you get answers later.
Okay. I mean, I'm just going to continue speculating with Asher then. It makes sense that they would, because no one, I mean, that we've heard of or seen has had contact with the Sage of the Six Paths. That, like, it's a historical figure that everyone, like, passes down the stories of. And we've seen generational passing of the Jinchuriki in and of itself. So I feel like they've been around for a while.
Asher, a rebuttal.
Not a rebuttal, but like it didn't occur to me to think of like how long they had been there, because I don't know the timeline of how long ago the Sage of Six Paths was alive.
Maybe when he had that meeting with them, he did something to catalyze their growth.
Interesting.
Well, like I said, we will find out in time. Actually, not too much time. I know that I've said this like the last 2 episodes, I believe, but we are closing in on 150 episodes left. And with that, a lot of filler in between us. So we're getting really, really close. It's exciting. What I was going to say just before we got into that little bit of speculation was that we're getting into where everything, I think I even said this before, everything is payoff at this point, because it's just the arc that we're in is like the 4 Shinobi War climax. So from here, it's just, it's still great. I motion downwards for everybody, like not downwards, like a downward slope for everybody just listening. But it's not that it gets worse, but the series has to wind down, you know? Like it gets really, really. Maybe I'm underselling it a little bit. We'll see how you guys feel in the last 100.
I can already tell I'm not ready for that. Like emotionally,
it's really,
I'm not ready.
And I guess that's what I'm trying to get at, is that because things are like sealing up, there becomes a point where it's like, well, what's next? And there's nothing next, and it's sad. And then it's like, well, Boruto. And then we're not going to do that. It's sad, even worse, misery. So yeah, I mean, there's definitely like, I feel that way about everything that I've finished. It's just something I adore. It just makes me sad that it's over.
Yeah.
But we've got a lot between us, a lot to figure out. So luckily we don't have to be sad right now. One of those things, and we're jumping ahead, but we're talking about the tailed beast. So who do we think is behind that mask?
We have kind of a agreed upon theory, right? Zach said it initially, and then I was like, oh, it makes sense. Is it Obito?
We're getting close to finding out.
Tobito?
Yeah, that's like, I don't know.
The thing that's still getting me is that Tobirama, second Hokage, right?
Yeah.
Is the one who did all the reanimation stuff.
Right.
So I still, even if Obito, which would make sense, which I know we'll talk about in a second, if it was him, I just don't think it's just him.
Okay.
Because the Toby thing, like, it could just be a red herring, a really good, healthy red herring, or it has something to do with that second Hokage.
Wait. What do you mean red herring? What do you mean by that?
I just mean, like, if it's not Toby, aka second Hokage at all, then him calling himself Toby just seems like trying to get us off the scent.
Oh, yeah. Okay, that's definitely something to be considered. That maybe the name doesn't have significance.
Yeah.
And maybe he said that thinking, well, other people are going to think a certain thing, but I am who I am, whoever that is.
Mm-hmm.
Probably Obito.
That's the only thing that's keeping me from like being confident in what I said last time, because this show is so unpredictable, but can be predictable at the same time. And I just am not confident in what's next. Like, names in this show have such a significance in both Japanese lore and in and of itself.
Like within the Naruto universe as well.
Yeah. Which is like why I was like focused on names, because Obito kind of switched around, can be Toby, you know, minus a few characters.
But wouldn't it be Tubi then?
Yeah, well, that's what I said. Obito, it's like Toby. Oh.
Toby. Oh.
That's what everyone's going to say when it's revealed.
Toby.
And it's so funny.
Oh, it's Obito.
Oh my God.
But it would make a little bit of sense that, I don't know, like, he was dead, right? Maybe we didn't see him dead.
The last time that we saw him, he was underneath a rock.
Right.
And then more rocks fell on top of them. Remember? Because Kakashi and Rin had to run.
Right.
So,
but Naruto was swallowed by a Jinchuriki. That in this world would constitute a death.
Wait. I mean,
like there's been times where it's like
I feel like that's not. I feel like that's not the same though. Like I feel like being caved in on, and like in seeing that a rock is just laying on him.
Yeah, but we didn't see under the rock.
You think there was under there? He was like,
okay.
Oh, I can still move.
I don't want to like.
I'm just wiggling around down here.
Like we saw him like they were talking down into the rock, and he was still talking, and they left thinking he's dead. There's nothing they can do to pick this rock up, but we didn't see that final breath drawn.
Okay,
drawn by the animator.
That to me, no, like drawing a breath, like that to me is like up for it could be.
Also, the eye thing would make sense. Like, why does his mask only facilitate like one eye being shown?
Well, it shows two now. I'm not sure what you mean there.
Well, I mean, it shows two now because he has the Renegon.
But like, somehow, how would he, like he? Okay, so like, think about this. Like, so what we saw was like the boulder, like splitting like straight down his face, right? Right, like we could all only see half of his face whenever it was him and Kakashi talking. So what? That other side got a massive boulder on it. Why is that side like fine now? You know,
we haven't seen it.
Yeah,
we can see it. Like we can. Why is it not flat? Why is this whole like right side not flat?
We'll find out when we know.
Here's the other reason it would make sense if it was him, because just the bigger picture world of the Uchiha being such a huge piece of the story, it would make sense that it was like an actual Uchiha person, which I don't know that the second Hokage is, or I don't know if we were told that. We might have been, and I forgot, but that's the other thing that would make sense to me.
Well, we will find out soon.
And another thing.
Yes.
He's mentioned stuff about the Toby that we know in present day Naruto is like, I want all suffering to end. He does mention that like really briefly. We see a little bit behind his intentions. And if the whole thing with Ren is any indication, like he doesn't want that kind of story or heartbreak to continue happening in the world.
Mm-hmm. Well, there's a lot of theories that were out there whenever this was coming out, and I was also in the same group as you guys.
Really?
I thought the name had, and from what I remember, Lance was not in the same group. And I worked with the guy. By this point, we were reading the manga week to week, trying to figure like just waiting, and you're only getting a little bit. It's only a chapter, so and there's probably like 2 to 3 chapters an episode. So while you're getting it weekly, it's like, come on, let's get there. And I remember another guy that I worked with named Darren also agreed with me that the name was too similar. So I get it. I've been there. I have had the same speculation, but the show is a bitch. So let's just consider all angles.
Sure. I'm still open to it because I mean, it's clearly not Madara, or it is maybe a piece of Madara and maybe it's a piece of Tobirama. I'm still kind of thinking it's like an amalgamation of like a few different people who think alike, or maybe they were absorbed by somebody who's like, I need more power to achieve my goal or something.
Right. No, I feel that. Yeah. It's coming soon. I think it's the next batch actually. Let me go ahead and look. Yep.
I guess that makes sense.
We will know in this next batch.
Holy crap.
I'm watching it all. As soon as we stop
I'm watching
recording.
it all tonight.
That would be
no Rocket League. Sorry. No Destiny.
Sorry. Oh no. Yeah. So just a matter of time now. But everyone at HQ in episode 330 had a nice little chuckle. And I thought that was really just nice and needed from the show. I made a note of it because it was just so weird. It was just like, I don't know. Like it felt so disingenuous and fake because it's just like this isn't a slice of life anime. We don't ever really get stuff like that. So
right.
I get like, I don't know. It just felt weird. But
Ichi's speech was something else.
Yeah. Yeah, it was. I wish that they had done a filler arc, and maybe Jack Kirby will know for sure if they have, because maybe I've missed it. But I would really like to see the original, Shikacho, or maybe that's not the original, but you know what I mean, like their parents.
Sure.
That would have been a really cool like arc just to see how they worked, because Ichi is obviously very good at what he does, but we've never seen him utilize like mind transfer jutsu. And like 3 fully like experienced shinobi versus, as much as like Shikamaru, Ino, and Choji are great, like they're not
16.
Yeah, exactly. Right. It's not that they don't have experience. It's just that they're still 16. Like their parents have been doing it for forever. So I think that would have been a really cool one to see. But from my knowledge, I don't think that there is that. Maybe in Boruto, that whole filler ridden show is just
not worth it.
I was looking back through the episodes the other day just to like see, because there is, if you guys want to do this, there's a specific arc, but I think that you may need to know too much to watch this, but like about Boruto to like really appreciate this. But there's this amazing fight scene in Boruto between Naruto and Enemy, and it's just incredible. Like if nothing else, that one episode with no context is probably worth you guys watching, just because it's so cool.
I could skip around.
Yeah, it might be worth it. I can see if I can put together a list, or maybe I can find a list. I'm sure somebody out there has done it. And have we heard from Lore Master about his feelings on Boruto? I wonder, because I talk about it so negatively basically all the time.
I think at some point he commented that it's not great.
Gotcha.
I'm pretty sure. And if he hasn't, and I'm making it up, then I'm sure he'll hear this and clarify.
Yeah. And even if you do like it, like that's totally fine. Like I just can't. There's too much other stuff I want to watch for me to be watching that. And that's exactly how I felt about Konohamaru's filler shit that they threw in here in the middle of this. Like, I don't know. I think I in this watch through have fallen more in line with you guys than maybe I anticipated. This watch through, I just, every time I see him, I just think he's pointless.
He's pointless, and then his cronies, or the other 2 people on his team, are like, if he's useless, they're like,
yeah.
Y'all know how I feel.
I could see Moegi being the smartest one out of the bunch and hopefully having a bright future, but snot-nosed kid, and
I'd say none of them have mighty hearts. That's what I'd say.
They don't have that will of fire. I
will of fire.
Do we have mighty hearts? Do we think that we have mighty hearts?
No.
I would agree with that. I'd
Mine's
go
been
with
acting
solid
up.
No.
No. Well, luckily we weren't stuck in the Konohamaru filler. But we got a cool heavy / Taka recap that no one needed. And
dude, even that scene leading up to it, it was like footprint after footprint. I was like, just show him already. We all know who it is.
5 minutes of footprints.
We all know he's walking in the rain.
It's Jesus when he carries you.
What?
Yeah, it was like too many footprints for Sasuke's return. Like,
yeah. And it's just too convenient for Suigatsu to just like find that room on accident. And he was just like, oh, this was weird. It's I don't know. And then they just show up at the end of the batch and they're just come through the ceiling and they're like, oh, there you are. Like I hate that. Hated it
what
then.
Have you been doing?
Hate it now.
Like, what made you have so much confidence to bust through layers of rock to get to your friend?
Yeah.
The only one who has redeeming plot points is Karin, because she's just unhinged and is doing a little jailbreak all on her own.
Yeah.
And we found out a little fact about her.
She's a Uzumaki.
Ooh. Whoa. Did not know that.
Mm-hmm. It should have been obvious with the red hair, right?
Yeah, with the red hair, it like makes sense. So I just feel like maybe there's another role she's going to play in the future.
I guess the red hair was a red herring.
Oh my gosh.
Yikes.
That was good, but man.
Yeah, I know.
So before we move on, gosh, I just want to go ahead and
what's
note
in this drink?
that are the These Are Words podcasts still up?
Yes, they are.
All right. So if you are like me,
I'm cutting
hang on. If you were like me and you're like, I really love whenever Asher does those weird, terrible lines of like, and that was
cocaine,
a red herring. If that makes you feel nauseous and you're like, man, I really want more of that, go listen to These Are Words. It's basically just that for 2 hours or more. Asher saying things, me getting sick at my stomach, having to leave the podcast, and then coming back
to poop.
And that's what it is. Yeah, thank you for the clarification. Several bowel movements in one episode.
But I
save it up all week. Oh my god. Sasuke, I want to make sure that I note this and we can get right back into the episode like it didn't happen. Sasuke kills the original White Zetsu, which is a big deal. Not that it gets rid of the other White Zetsu, but that's the original. So no more splitting. What's out there is out there.
Right.
Wow. I didn't realize that was what was happening.
Yeah. And it's not really highlighted like that. So, boom, roasted.
I'm glad you said that. I did have a question about that.
What is it?
You answered it. That was it.
Cool. Sick.
I was like, was that the OG guy?
Yeah. So pretty limited. I don't know how many are really left out there. Sometimes you don't see any for like episodes, and then like you randomly see them. Like, did we see them in the what was that? The battlefield where Kakashi and Guy were with like Granny Chio. Is that the same battlefield in Kankuro? Maybe that's not the same battlefield as Kakashi and Guy. But didn't they have White Zetsu in this batch? Maybe they're all gone now. But I know he killed the OG. So there's at least that. Right. And they only really talk about it. But so now he knows about the war. And him and Kakashi just happen to pass each other. Love that they do. But they just...
Wait, you mean Itachi, right?
What'd I say?
Kakashi.
Sorry. Yeah, Itachi.
That would have been a different episode.
True. My fault. Yes. So Sasuke and Itachi just happen to pass each other. Huge fluke, considering how vast the world is. But we'll take it. But before we go on to that, I just want to say like this one thing. First of all, or do you guys want to talk about the Five Kage and Madara, and then talk about Sasuke and Itachi?
I was just looking through it.
Better.
Okay.
Yeah, we don't have to spend long because I thought it was cool. It's a lot of Onoki that I didn't really care about, but it's good.
The thing I cared most about with Onoki was that he was basically Yoda on Raikage's back, the way that Yoda's on Luke's back on Dagobah.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Five Kage against Madara. Let's hear it. Thoughts? We can talk about it in its entirety, like from from everything we watched.
I felt like it was one of those classic anime drawn out for purposes of filling time type fights.
Yeah.
There was a lot of talk and some explanation, but not as much for what constituted the time that they took our screens over.
Yeah.
And that's fine. Like, I get it. Like, the Kage are worth our attention because of their role and whatever. But, like, the main takeaway I got from these 5 Kage, don't hate me, anyone who's listening to this or you guys, except for Gaara, maybe. I was thinking the entire time, like, it's time for someone else to step up and lead. Like, they were just complaining. And I get that they're in front of like a giant opponent, but it's 5-1. Like, I know he's able to like clone himself, and that's tough. But we've known from the beginning, like, clones aren't direct 1-to-1 copies. Like, they're weaker than the main.
Well, that is
caster.
Typically true. Typically because there's a finite amount of chakra, but being reanimated, he has an infinite supply. So gotcha. He's stronger than he would be. So 5v1, yeah. Like, and he even taunts them for that. I'm sure you remember that. But it's not 5v1. It's like 5v like 25, like the way that he did against them. That was kind of how it was with like 1v5. Like, he's just so freaking strong. Like, they don't really show, at least at this point. We'll get into it later. We'll see some like history, just some more of like how the Leaf was founded and whatnot, and the power building will come into play much more. And I think that it becomes much more obvious how far of a jump there is even from the Kage. And that's kind of the point of the fight. I hate it too. I think it drags on. It's boring. One of my notes says the 5 Kage are no match for Madara because they're all lame. And I even love them. Like, I like Gaara and Tsunade.
Yeah.
But they're still just lackluster because we're told they're supposed to have power, but they can't just come out of nowhere and have this like awesome power like that should have been able to solve these past problems. Now that they're fighting this bigger problem. So they are kind of locked at what they've been at, which, you kind of have to respect. But Madara, like I said, just take my word for it. But you will get evidence of this, but the power jump is wildly vast.
And it was.
I totally hear what you're saying.
Yeah. And it definitely like showed a glimpse of that with the Perfect Susan. And
every time, Susan is just the perfect name for it.
But the Perfect Susan was, definitely tough to see, and it split a mountain, which is it's not lost on me that is a huge thing to accomplish.
Yeah.
I think it was the silence mixed with we're done for the entire time.
Yeah.
And it's so foreign in this show to be like, I am not the best there ever was.
Mm-hmm.
And so maybe that has some significance that I'm not like really chewing on fully, but to me it felt like exactly what you said. It just felt lackluster. It felt like surely somebody's like even able to like be like, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna take them on and like, I don't know, actually fight.
Right. It is very foreign to the show. And I think that I take that, at least I want to take that as like the show wants me to internalize that I've been taught that they always act this way, but this foe is so great that it breaks everything else. That every way that they've acted before now doesn't count because this foe is like so great. So while it feels like cheap, like the takeaway I try to like hammer in there is just like, okay, he's strong, which is very obvious, but I think sometimes it can get convoluted because it's really tough to show, especially in a world that like is not bound to our reality, obviously, because I've got ninjutsu and stuff, and we aren't privy to every single facet of the universe as we are this one. So we just have to kind of take things in stride. So there's a lot of times that, although I'll be like, that feels lame, I just have to be like, okay, and just move on with it. And I've done that with Naruto. Is not innocent of this at all, but I probably have to do that with like most of them because it's hard to show power, one through animation, and I think that shows have gotten really good at it now with like Jujutsu Kaisen. I think that they've just done a good job of it not having to be a literal missile to be like, okay, it's powerful, here's a massive like Gundam or whatever, or now that Naruto's a mecha anime with the perfect Susan and with Naruto turning into Nine Tails, it's like, okay, that's very obvious like power structuring, but it's not innocent of it, but sometimes you just kind of have to be like, okay, I get that like you might just need like a break.
I think it was like helpful kind of world building, like the whole battle with the Five Kage and Madara, but not, it just like broke up the pace in a way that I didn't want for where we're at in the story right now.
Absolutely. And I'm really curious if the manga is like, I just don't remember if it breaks it up that same way, because I really don't think it does. I think you get like one full story and then it's supposed to be like meanwhile. But I can't remember for sure. I mean, I've got it back there. I could go check. But I mean, it's obviously like tension building and like it works, but like, God, is it so annoying. If you were watching this week to week, I didn't watch this week to week because, like I said, by this point we were reading the manga, so I just like stopped watching and then went back once it was all out and watched that. Lance tortured himself and continued to watch week to week, which I just couldn't do it. The pacing becomes atrocious. It's like, it's not great. It's not as bad as DBZ, but it still can get there's some long ones in there. But I really don't think this batch really had a lot of that besides the Five Kage. Like that felt like it dragged it down, but everything else was like just above and beyond. But this is one of my favorite pieces of the entire story. So a little biased.
The Five Kage?
No, sorry. Sasuke and Itachi. I thought that. Yeah. I'm glad you asked me to clarify. No, the Five Kage part is that's forgettable to me. There is a part later between Madara and someone else that I will not name that is gold. Like, it is gold. And it's not gold because of action. It's just gold because of timing. It's great. And now that I say that with that much vagueness, there's two of those. So yeah, cool. And one of them is action, actually. Clearly the second one. So let's get back into it with Sasuke and Itachi and Kabuto. Let's talk about Kabuto's backstory first. We got some. God. It doesn't make me love him anymore. Like, I don't have any empathy.
It doesn't me either, but it was tragic.
It absolutely is.
Yeah. Rough.
Yeah, but I still am like, you're terrible. Don't like you. But it is like
looking at Naruto's backstory. Honestly, similar.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what is Kabuto's excuse? He let the bad thoughts win. I can't feel bad for him.
Yeah.
I mean, I still feel bad for him because, like, I just don't think everyone has the wherewithal that Naruto has.
Yeah, no, I agree with that too. That's why he like stuck out so much. But that doesn't excuse Kabuto. I get that, but it's still like I'm somewhere in the middle. I fully hate him, and I fully understand that he came from a shitty situation.
Sure.
So
I would agree with that. But does that make you empathize with his stance in the world?
No, but it makes me empathize that where he's ended up.
Sure.
Because it could have been so different. We even see his brother, quote unquote, from the orphanage being like, if my little brother's there, like he can help you. Like that, like he does have people that loves him. Like he was just an unfortunate circumstance that was taken advantage of by Danzo and Orochimaru.
And Orochimaru. Yeah.
That's the thing too. Kabuto probably had more people rooting for him. I mean, a lot more people rooting for him than Naruto did, and still ended up going the route that he did. So that makes him less redeemable.
Kabuto,
he's not redeemable, but
yeah, like Kabuto, where he has ended up he's not innocent of that. But I don't think he's entirely at fault either, because his intentions were to just be a spy, but things got he got taken advantage of by Danzo in that situation. But like it really could have just kind of like ended as being like this like shady ninja for the Leaf. But obviously once he was going to be killed by Danzo, Orochimaru took advantage of him in that situation as well. And so I still don't think that Kabuto's like to blame in those two situations entirely. Even like less so the first one, maybe the second one, like he really shouldn't have teamed up with him, but super vulnerable, somebody that he feels like you should trust with Orochimaru, because it's like he's helping me whenever I'm down. Like I can empathize with all of that, but he's not like free of the decisions that he's made since then, because by the time we see him at the Chunin exams, which feels like a lifetime ago, he was already a heinous person. So like, and those decisions are his decisions. So like, while his upbringing I like feel super empathetic for, I feel no like mercy for who he became and decided to be.
Here's another like piece of it for me is it is the sneakiness, the smarminess of his personality and the way that he goes about conducting himself and his business. Like Madara, or Toby, whatever one you want to call him, is arguably a worse person, but he does it at least straight up, honestly. Like he talks about it. It's not this huge political campaign against a person in the sneakiest and ugliest ways. And like, you know, cuddles up to you and acts like he's your friend, and then stabs you in the back and like turns you in, and like everything about Kabuto is just, it reeks
sleaze
bag.
Sleaze. Yeah.
And honestly, yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say that's why we hate him.
Yeah. It's the personality behind the evil intentions. Because like I said, Toby's like confident, and that's fine, but he's not going behind your back for it. He's doing what he does because he's got convictions about different things.
Right. Yeah. Well, I love what he gets. What Kabuto gets feels like actual justice.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's so satisfying. It's so satisfying.
Especially with who serves that justice.
Yes. True. Think about the light that you guys thought of Itachi in at the beginning of the series until now. Is just such a development. Wow.
Honestly, same reason why I hate Danzo is why I hate Kabuto. They're very similar in how they operate. Just sleaze bags.
Yeah, awful. Absolutely
Keep
awful.
going. Sorry.
No, you're fine. I was just going to say, at what point did you guys realize, oh, this is a loop?
Dude, I don't know. I mentioned last episode that we recorded that I was like, I wish they had a little thing at the top of the screen. You're in the Genjutsu now. Now you're back in real life. I was like, what the hell's going on here, dude?
Yeah.
Honestly, the first time I thought this isn't right is when his body comes back into one. Like he got cut in two. And every other person that gets hurt in certain ways, like, and they start flittering away with their little paper animation thing, they're gone. And then he's like one again and has the same injury. I was like, uh-oh.
Yeah.
Kabuto.
There's a couple really early cues too. Like he uses the Izanami and he loses his eyesight immediately, his left eye.
Yeah.
And they show it for a second. Like they only show it once, and then even the next time throughout until they reveal that they're in a loop, he's got his eye back. So it's like it's short enough to be like, oh, that was weird. Oh wait, why does he have it back? And then you find out a few minutes later. But it is. I remember watching or reading this part and being really confused because the animation or the panels just were like the exact same. And it wasn't like I was like, wait, is this wrong? Like swiping my phone. It was just like, wait, it was very evident at like from the beginning, but because I'd never seen anything like that before, I was confused. I don't know. I just remember being blown away by it. Like I finished and I was like, Itachi is next level, like thinker.
Yeah.
God tier.
So Sasuke wasn't in the fight like for most of it. Like he's just like chilling. Like
true.
But I get it. Itachi's there doing all of it, so he doesn't really
Sasuke's still a bitch.
Yeah, great point. I love that. He's still a bitch. How do you see everything that's happened? And I get it. You're mad at the leaf, but like, why are you mad at the whole village? Like, why are you not mad at Danzo, who you've already killed?
True.
I think because vengeance, like, at the core of vengeance, it's like never satiated.
Yeah.
You know, not to get real philosophical or anything, but it's like what you're saying with Danzo. It's like he's already kind of had his day as far as that, but it only grew. Like his desire for vengeance only grew after that, as opposed to like, oh, it's kind of subsiding now because I got one of them, so now I feel a little bit better. It's like,
right,
nah, dude, I feel red. I see red.
Yeah.
Did we see Sasuke's reaction post memory lane trip with Itachi?
We did.
That's when he says that he still hates the leaf more than ever?
No.
Or that was before he showed him everything?
Yeah, he says that before. And then afterwards he says I, and then he says who am I? And that was and then Sugetsu and Jugo come crashing in.
No. I'm sorry. Did we hear how he felt about everything that happened once he saw the truth in Itachi's memories?
No.
Yeah. I feel like we might see something turn in his understanding of it. Yeah, like in his understanding of what happened. Because he essentially takes things for what they are at face value, or at least he has in his history with who he's talked to and everything. So I agree with you guys that he's still blinded by rage, but I also have hope that maybe he's going to turn a new page.
I think he will 100%, because I think we're seeing a character like Kabuto, but we're seeing one, and we've seen a longer timeline of his like life and his history and his brother and Naruto, where he is going to actually turn it around. But man, it doesn't make the journey any easier to just see Sasuke being like such a ding dong the whole time. But I think that's gonna be a really good contrast to Kabuto, who again had a lot of support, had a lot of opportunity to turn it around, and he still ended up being an evil person.
Yeah. I hope, this is a hope that I have coming out of the conversation with Itachi. I hope that when he mentioned that he made a promise to Naruto, that conversation with Naruto might be a little different in the future, because he loves his older brother. You can see it all over his body language in a cartoon, right? Like, it's very evident that he loves him. He says he loves him, like he looks up to him. And for Itachi, someone he respects immensely, to promise something to Naruto, I don't feel like that's just going to be lost words for Sasuke in the long run.
You think he got a little incepted?
I
think old Leo DiCaprio got in there. Little Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
I think that's going to
be others.
And the others. Name one other cast member. Come on, you can't even get My Cocaine.
My Cocaine. Wait, he was in that movie?
Yeah, right? Is he not?
That's my bad. Somebody actually incepted me to forget that he was in that movie. So that's my bad.
I'm doubting it.
Cillian Murphy.
He's in it, right?
What are we for, Mr. Wayne?
Yeah, he was Alfred.
Yes. Yeah, Batman. Yeah.
No, okay. He was Leo's dad.
You never gave up on me, Alfred.
For real. I did forget though, until literally just now.
Okay, so let's see.
Wait, Zach was saying something. Do you remember?
Yeah, Zach was
saying. It's all good. Gone with the wind.
Yeah, sorry.
It's all good.
Well, that kind of wraps us up. We see the reanimation jutsu release, and Madara just conveniently stays around. So that's cool. And it's stuff like that. Like, that's a perfect example of what I'm talking about, where like we aren't privy to all the information, so we just kind of we're forced to accept, like, oh, okay, he's always been able to do that, whatever. Whenever in reality, like, we see him like reverse the contract, and no one's ever heard of that before, and it's never been brought up, and it's like, that's cheap, and I hate that. And that's exactly how I felt about it then, and that's how I feel about it now. It's cheap and it's bullshit, but you're forced to be like, fine.
Yeah, the only redemption in that understanding, because I hate it just as much as you're describing, is like, you have to be a pretty bad person to take dead bodies and reanimate them.
Mm-hmm.
And Madara is that guy, so of course he knows the hand signs for this jutsu that is forbidden. But still, come on.
Yeah, I'm right there with you.
Get him out of here. Unless he and Tobi Obito are fused somehow, linked somehow. I don't know. What's going on there?
He didn't even know that the reanimation jutsu was going to happen until Kabuto showed up.
It's a great point. Very good point.
But
could be. I don't want to discredit it. Like,
no, foiled at every turn.
We get a nice moment with a few of the reanimated people. Datara finally gone forever. But Dawn, we talked about that briefly, but Dawn and Tsunade for like literally 30 seconds. Not too fast.
That's all the time they needed.
Evidently.
That was Guy Sensei watching from afar.
And I believe that might be it now that I'm thinking about it. Like Granny Chio was like, I entrust you with the puppets. And Kankuro was like, okay. As if he's not been doing that already. He's like, thank you for permission.
Yeah. That's kind of how he said it too.
I would love one episode on Kankuro just being like that's just kind of his
yeah.
Is this what's going on here? Okay.
Yeah, that does very, very much feel like him. We don't really spend a lot of time with him, obviously, or really like any of the Shinobi outside of like the main like core characters. Do we see them like have a leisure day? You know,
right?
And I feel like, at least for myself, like I would feel like I would be very different in a mission or a fighting situation as opposed to at home in the village, just chilling.
I bet there's some filler episodes where there's just leisure.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. That's why I miss the filler music from OG Naruto. I miss it. Just the 90s. Everything's okay. Nothing can hurt you. That's why I want to live.
There is filler. I watched like 2 episodes. This was so many ago. I don't even know if it was an OG. I think it was an OG, but like Hinata gets naked and like swims, goes like night swimming. When she's out on a mission, Naruto happens to tag along on this mission and he kind of like sees her in the moonlight, but he doesn't know it's her.
Yes. And it's like there's like a waterfall near too. Yeah. That's I was
like Lady Hinata.
Oh my god. It's like the Gojogu beetle, something like that.
Yes, because Shino is there, yeah.
Yeah.
They're trying to find a beetle.
It was like about a beagle. Beagle, the dog. It's about some sort of beetle named a beagle. It's weird.
What'd you say about cranking hogs?
Oh my god. Listening to Bill Murray.
Every day.
So I think that kind of brings us to the end of the batch. Is there anything else that you guys wanted to talk about?
No, because I want to go watch and see who it is.
Yeah, I get that. Okay. Well, the next batch is episode 341 through 346. And it's not longer because it runs into filler, shocker, for 2 episodes. And then the Kakashi Black Ops arc starts. So there's nowhere else to go. So 6 is what we've got. And I didn't want to do, what did we have this last time? 11. I didn't want to do 17 episodes at once. And I knew that we had to get through the reanimation release because it was like, I can't leave us hanging like on this. Like it would have been miserable. Whatever you guys
I will
are
say
doing,
the only last note that I have from this batch is when Itachi's talking to Shisui. And Shisui just pulls his eye out. Doesn't skip a beat. Doesn't say, ow. Just.
I would say that eyes in Naruto work a lot like USB ports going into a power socket. They are plug in and use however you want.
With blood still, though.
With blood, yeah. Oh, yeah.
But not pain. Or
no pain.
Very little, at least.
Smile on his face.
Wait, did someone steal Pain's Rinnegan?
Yes, that would be
clearly
Toby.
So Pain is involved.
Toby Obito.
All right, well, episodes 341 through 346, and we've got a pack of cards to open before I jump off here and never talk to you guys again because of Zach's jokes.
It's been real, man. See you in heaven.
I didn't say that. Why are you so sure?
See you in hell.
7th heaven.
When I see their happy faces,
oh my
smiling back at me.
Where you at?
Dude, I really just need to count how many cards I have left in that box, the silver
you
box.
frustrated with your
because
pool?
yes, these are not good. So we've got Homeboy from Sound 4, Homeboy from the Hidden Leaf, Pakun, probably
what up, homie?
The 17th we've had,
Lame.
and then Sasuke. So, and that's it. Like, that was the last one. So, not a great pack. But we only have like 3 left in this orange one, anyways. So I need to just count out the rest of the episodes, get all the batch numbers done, and then see if I can start opening those packs because they actually have characters from now. Wow. This has, I mean, obviously, this has characters in Shippuden, but the furthest we've seen is Naruto in this like the Sage Jutsu outfit that we saw once, and I don't even think we pulled a card like that. Like, we've only seen that on the pack. I'm like almost certain because I would have pulled that. Like, Naruto in this like red suit is probably my favorite like iteration of Naruto. So I definitely would have pulled that card out and put it in a sleeve. So I would be really surprised if we'd pulled that and I'd not pulled it out. So
I just realized something.
What?
The front of those card packs, Toby's on there, right?
Yeah.
Which, like, if we saw that before we knew, we would have known, like, oh, there's some significance to this Toby guy. Why else would
show
he be
you guys until Toby? I didn't show you the pack until Toby had become. Oh, okay. Sorry.
Listen, I'm just saying,
sorry,
his voice sounds just like Madara's.
Yes.
But Toby, his voice sounds like absolute crackhead, right?
Right. Okay. So I didn't show you guys this pack until like that version of Toby was the own, like, was revealed.
Right. But I'm just saying, like, what's his real voice? Because he's copying Madara's voice like literally to a T. Like, it's the same voice actor, right? But then there's Toby, who's unhinged.
I actually don't think it is the same voice actor.
Has to be.
Like, it sounds, to me, it sounds pretty identical. So that's, anyway, I just wanted to say it. I still think it's some kind of.
Find me an episode number that has both of them in it. What was the one that had, well, I mean, that would have been most of them, honestly. I bet the last one, the 340. Okay, give me 1 second.
Yeah, it would have been recent. It would have been really recent. That's true.
Where they had the high-pitched voice? Or
no, he means like, yeah, like the reanimated Madara, and because I thought the same thing for a second when Logan was saying that, but
okay,
so you mean like Madara and Toby?
Yes, I did.
Madara voiced Toby. Dude, if that's 2 different people, wild.
Kudos.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Fooled me.
It's almost like that one time when Shikamaru had a cold.
It's so perfect that I thought for all this time.
Naoya Uchida is the Japanese voice actor for both Madara and Toby. And then Neil Kaplan is the voice for Madara, Uchiha, and Toby. So you guys were right. Same exact guy. And Neil Kaplan does a lot of like
anime.
No, like, well, I mean, he might, but like Comic-Con or like fan cons or whatever, where you can like meet different people, like where Connor had lent that bookmark that had been signed by oh gosh, what is her name? I'm gonna blank on
Naruto's voice actress.
Yeah.
What is her name?
Flanagan. It's it's like I can't say it.
Miley.
It's like Maile, Maile. Maile Flanagan. But yeah, she also does them. A lot of them do, and they're all like super friendly. So
yeah.
Well, you'd hope they would go to those and be friendly.
True.
But yeah, so like I said, episode 341 through 346. And that should do it for us tonight.
Love you.
Love you.
Love you.